Hi, my name is Okinyo Mark, Business Growth Advisor, Coach, and Consultant. Today, I want us to talk about the subject of growth, which is something that we all look for at different stages of our journey. One of the biggest tools that you can have to help you in your growth journey is the ability to have a level of awareness, and not only internal awareness, but also external awareness. To better explain that, I have a tool here called the Johari Window. Let me just pull it up. All right, so here's the Johari window. So the Johari window is a very powerful tool that we can always use to help us build more awareness on the areas that we might need to improve on or to grow. So there are things that are known to us and things that are known to others. So these are what we call your open areas. And when you think about an open area, so these are things that you both know about yourself and other people also know about you. So for example, people can say that you are kind, you are fun to be around, you are helpful, and the likes. Yeah. So if those are things that you know about yourself and other people also know them about you, then we can say that those are your open areas. But then there are things that other people know about you that you don't know about yourself. So these ones become your blind spots. All right. So anything that anybody else knows about you that you really don't know about yourself, then that becomes a blind spot. So for example, when you're having a sit down with your boss and they're giving you a feedback and they mention things that jump out to you that you do not really know about yourself. So for example, maybe they say you're not very collaborative, just as an example. Yeah. And because you did not know that about yourself, then it takes you aback and you might need to dig a little deeper to try and find out whether there's any truth to that or if there's some bit of misconception between how you see yourself and how other people see you. So that is another good example. The third quadrant is around things that are known to yourself, but not known by others. So these are the things that you keep hidden. Yeah. That you know you these are the things that you probably don't want other people to find out about yourself. So it could be things to do with your values that you'd like to keep to yourself, and you choose what to expose to other people versus what not to expose to other people. Yeah, so that is also another example. Finally, in the last quadrant, you have the things that are not known to you, but they're also not known to others. So those ones becomes your unknowns. Those ones become your unknowns, and your unknown things are potentially areas of exploration because as you grow, your environment continues to change, you continue to discover new things, and other people also continue to discover new things. So that one becomes an area of exploration. So one thing to note about the Johari window is that it's not a tool that's supposed to be done in isolation. It's usually better if you're able to do it with other people, just so that you're able to get that external feedback around the areas or how you see yourself versus how other people see you. But also in the market, let's say you're running your own business, it's always good not only to look internally at the products and services that you built, but also to go out into the market and try to also understand how does the market perceive your current solutions compared to what's already out there. And I do not want to assume that I have the level of confidence or comfort to be able to approach other people to do this exercise with them. For that specific reason, I recently developed a very good tool that I want to share with you. It's called Growth Assessments. And what it does is that it helps you build clarity around your growth areas. So at any point in your career, if you want to take the next step in your growth journey, it's always good to see where you currently stand versus the skills and relationships that you need to build to go into the next stage. If you're a business founder and probably your business is not growing as fast as you'd like, this is also a very good tool that you could potentially use to help you have a very clear path forward that you can pursue, in terms of like also what areas in your business you can potentially prioritize to help you unlock the next stage of growth. If you're a business leader and sometimes maybe things are not going according to plan, your teams are not hitting their milestones, they're not following the strategy, vision seems to be broken. This is also a good tool that can help you really figure out where the issue is and how to potentially fix it. So once you get onto www-growthassessments.com, you'll be able to select a growth pathway depending on where you are in your journey or who you are. So we currently have assessments for entrepreneurs and founders, business leaders and executives, career professionals and employees. All you have to do is select one assessment group, and then you say start assessment. It's very simple. Within 5 to 7 minutes, you'll be able to have gone through the questions that are there. And once you complete that, then you'll be able to have access to your growth dashboard. This is what your dashboard typically looks like. So once you log in, you'll have access to all the assessments you've completed. You'll be able to have access to different coaches that you can engage. All your assessments are there. You can also download them. You also have access to communities where you can see upcoming events, and you can also be able to join some WhatsApp communities. But for the sake of here, let me just pull up one assessment that we can look at to gauge how things are. So let's say I did the business growth readiness assessment. You'll come and you'll be able to see your results. You usually get an overall score that tells you out of 100, how far you are and how growth ready you are. Then based on the personalized responses you gave us, then we'd be able to see what are some of the areas that you're struggling with in your business, or in your career or in your leadership, that you need to fix as a matter of urgency. So in this case, for example, we have revenue and financial health, customer acquisition and retention, operations and execution. So those are the 3 areas that we need to focus on. And then you get a really nice breakdown that shows you how you performed across the others. So for here, for example, I can see under team capacity, I'm doing quite good. Under growth direction and priorities, I'm doing very well. Under market and customer fit, I'm doing also well. So it's only these 3 areas that are letting me down. You also get a very nice detailed executive summary of those dimensions that we looked at and the areas of growth. Based on your responses, you'll be able to see what you're currently doing well versus areas of growth that you need to push. So that is done across all the dimensions we look at. And then from there, you also get a recommendation on what you can prioritize. So for example, it's financial restructuring, what you need to look at, how do you invest, what kind of financial expertise do you need to build internally in your team, and then do you need any level of softwares that can help you also automate the tracking of your finances in that area. So if it's things to do with your customers, then depending on the answers you give, you'll be able to also get personalized recommendations that show you what you should work on next. And then under operations, same thing. Then that now transitions into an action plan that you can actually follow, broken down by weeks and weeks, and then a roadmap that also tells you what you should do in the first 30 days, what you should do in the next 30 days, and then by the time you're hitting your 3-month deadline, what you should have been working with at that point. It also tells you a couple of metrics that you can use to track and measure the progress in terms of like how you're going, and you get a very nice detailed next steps. So with your results, then now you can either choose to pursue the growth yourself, or you can choose to use the help of a coach or a consultant. Yeah. So that's always what you can do. If you'd like to know more about your growth areas, you always get a pathway depending on the assessment you took. So for example, if you're a founder or entrepreneur, you can choose to do a deep dive on the specific area that you're struggling. So let's say, for example, I was struggling in business growth strategy and market fit. So I can choose to also take that assessment, and it's going to give me more information on what exactly is broken in my business growth strategy and market fit. So in a nutshell, this is a very nice tool that you can use to build clarity on which areas of your growth journey do you actually need to prioritize. I'd say please come check it out, take it for a spin. Feel free to reach out to me on this channel, and then we can continue to engage further. Beyond that, there's also a section for events. So this is where I typically host fortnightly growth activities or growth events, where we just come in with different leaders, career professionals, as well as business owners, to be able to figure out how do we unblock some of these things so we can have like very open and candid conversations. So yeah, that's all I had for you today. Thank you.